only depends on who you get. If you get Ralph, maybe Ralph decides, because we did this and talked about the cop car and the travel, and we've already hashed that over every time we hire somebody. Maybe he decides to quit because he doesn't want to work 20 hours a week. Who you don't know who you might get that's farther away, who you might get that's not going to work for what he works for. I think if you want to get the county to cover your town for 20 hours a week, they'll charge you over $60,000 a year to do 20 hours a week.
Closer to 65.
And probably 65 now.
That was my guess. That was my question on it.
Yeah.
What was your plan on if you're cutting him in half? Who's covering the other half?
Well, depending on the call out. If we had somebody shoot somebody here in town, who do you call? You call the sheriff's office. If Ralph's not available, they would send a deputy.
Well, when you got something as extreme as that, you've got not only the municipal police department, you got the county, you got Department of Criminal Investigation of the state. That's the extreme.
Yeah.
I'm just asking who's covering the other 20 hours a week?
Well, I was looking at, because
And no, Public Works is not. Just so you're getting that there.
Well, Public Works can't.
And that's a good question. Who's gonna cover the other 20 hours in the call-outs? Because if you're punching me on 20 hours and you're taking the vehicle away, good luck on a call-out. The county will respond,
Yeah.
but they're,
I'm just wondering where you've got the $500 to $800 a month. I have no idea where Ralph lives, but I commute back and forth to Billings, and I don't even spend that in commuting with a V8 truck. So
Well, I went through the budget.
That's per year, by the way, was it?
Well, you've got about a year. However, I went through each month by month by month, and how much he was allocated, how much he was spent by credit card,
okay,
and how much it was. And it varied between $500 and $800 every month that we
Okay.
approve for
Right.
gas.
okay. But you just said it was for him to go back and forth from home.
Well, it's for gas.
Okay.
We're-
Well, I'm trying to
we're-
clarify this.
The
Where is
majority,
home? Where is home?
he drives, I think he lives on the other side of the bridge.
South of
I
Bridge.
do a 27-mile round trip.
So
That's a big difference.
so last
Yeah,
year.
yeah. Driving back and forth to home is a big difference than driving around for
Well-
a mass $500 gas bill at the month at the end of the
Yeah,
month.
well,
So that
So-
was month or year?
A
Is that a
month.
month?
You said month, yeah.
Because gas and oil for the police department for the whole year of last year was $2,800. So where are we getting the 500 a month is 6,000.
because I went through,
So what are we adding? So we know.
when you look at it,
Vendor actual.
the actual, these things. The things that Ralph filled out,
Yeah.
month by month,
Those are out of town. Those have nothing to do with the old, that's just out of town mileage.
That's when you go
Back and forth and
go
in
out of
town.
yeah.
That doesn't include my round trip. Now, that
So you
1,000
spend
down,
more than the 500
that
you-
1,000 down at the bottom is the monthly miles.
Miles
That other document that I list,
is the out of
the
town.
out of town mileage, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, he documents when he takes the vehicle out of town on police business.
and actually we looked at this month. Out of town.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out, Brenda, do you recall like when you do the gas card for Ralph, you put it in the police department, gas and oil?
Yeah, his off-site total was, this month was 238 miles. So I don't know how many miles he drove altogether.
Well, he puts
Well, my
that on
total
the
mileage
mileage.
is on the report.
On the other page is the total monthly. I think the bottom of the next, or the back of that one. Yeah, right down there at the bottom.
So you drove 1,084 miles?
That's what it says. mileage for the month.
And 400 of that was offsite.
Pardon me?
Or 238 was offsite. I just looked at how many hours you sit here, how long the patrol car sits in front of the office out here. I don't know, just without going out and clocking you every day for a month, I figure you're probably in the office 80% of the time.
You know, I ain't figured out the percentage, but, you know, you can ask Brenda. Yeah, I'm not just sitting there twiddling my thumbs or sitting on my thumbs, so you
Yeah.
really don't, I don't think you, have the background to say.
I just want an answer to the question, where do you get $500, $800 a month for him to drive back and forth to home? 27 miles round trip. Because that's what you stated, I wanna know,
No,
I guess
that
where
was,
the,
I think that was including his
no, he said from home to
patrol,
back.
And I'll have to.
but patrol and then out
Well,
of
I-
town,
Yeah,
wherever he goes.
There's the budget here, you go through, I think it's Brenda's reports,
You got them right in front of you tonight.
you know? Well, let's see.
well, if you look at this budget document that I prepared, it has the yearly
That's the actual.
total actual in the left column. And,
Well,
yeah.
I looked at that also, I know, that's why I was questioning, because
doesn't seem
when
to
I
match.
looked, yeah, it wasn't
Are
matching.
you looking at like Cenex bills or,
Yeah.
cause that could be
and,
public works and,
Well, it was,
I'm-
I have to look for sure.
I'm sure a big bunch for this
But
one.
when I looked at it, it was $500 and $800. And I didn't bring it with me.
If you're going off the cartwheel cards, that's the only place we can get gas is Cenex. Our fleet
And I
cards.
never figured up your budget as far as that. I don't see yours running back and forth either.
well, he
He goes to Bridger a lot.
He might drive around all over.
You know, the Bridger lot?
Yeah, I
Drive all
see,
over the
goes,
place.
yeah, right, a lot.
billings to get stuff.
Or buildings. Next 2 weeks, I'm going to Columbus.
Well, maybe, I guess, let's look at it this
Let's
way.
just-
Here, this is.
Let's look at it
here's
this
the
way.
actual, here's.
Um,
You may have, this is what, he was allotted the first, and then this is actual, what they spent, and this is what we're proposing in this
Put
budget.
you out to Richmond.
So what do we have here now? This is police department gas and oil. Total of
This is
$565 for the month of,
Yeah.
well, is this a month, Brenda?
Yes, this last month.
Month is, well, it's September 13th.
And under police, you'll see his amount.
Right, okay.
Here's the account sheet.
Well, public
broken,
works,
yeah.
oh, public works, okay.
Yeah.
So it's 244, yeah, sorry.
244
Yeah.
per hour.
200.
So that's about what it, if you average that out for 12 months, that's about what it says on the
$690,
printout.
which is
Well,
gas.
actually,
I was looking at the wrong
Not
number.
like.
No, that
You
was
might be
tires.
looking at,
No.
I did the same thing, I saw
I sold
That was,
them.
no, it wasn't
PWD, that's
tires,
public
it was,
works.
what, there was
I
something
thought
else
it
that was
was
brakes,
for him.
police department.
Brakes.
When I first looked
That's
at
two
it.
different things. Okay.
Maybe that's what I did, because I looked at that
Gas
and I
budgets and all
hey,
that.
that's a lot of money. And it could vary between $500 and $800.
Yeah, but not for everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that you're putting my stuff on Ralph's. That works me once me.
Yeah.
Better for you.
Yeah, that's like with the phones, remember?
But
Well,
the,
just,
you know, another thing I'd like to point out is,
That's right.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's right.
something I said at the last couple of meetings.
But I was
You mentioned you'd like to
thinking of
sell the
that
land when you have a new administration and all
For some
that.
reason, it just
That's fine.
bought gas and it
What
was,
I-
it was.
That's similar to what I suggested, that the new administration come in and get with Ralph and sit with him once in a while and talk with him and see what he does all day. See how many reports he has to do, how many visitors he has coming in. The time he spends answering complaints from people who complain that he spends too much time in the office. That's, time has to be taken. So I guess what I like to see is that if you look at the budget in general, we have it pretty well hashed out. We have for all the years we've been doing it. We've been getting better and better at it. Our revenues come in about what we think. Our expenses come in about what we think. And if you think you can provide a 40-hour police presence per week for less money somehow. That's the topic, not to say you can save money by yeah, I can save money by telling Mike he only works 20 hours a week. That's against the law for him, of course, because you have to have a 40-hour certified operator, 40 hours a week. But yeah, you can save money by cutting lots of things. But
You also cut services.
well, are you actually need to, is the point I'm trying to make. I know people are disgruntled with Ralph. This has been going on for several years.
Yes, and it wasn't just Ralph. I know I looked at the police department, and we were looking at Mike's department, you know, for
Right.
one full-time guy and a part-time guy.
And I'll back you 100%. You
You know?
guarantee me that all my digs and all the emergency breaks happen when that guy's on part-time hours. Because if you get
Well,
a guy in
if
there
you did have a
part-time,
part-time
he's gonna take another job, so he's not gonna be available.
Well, you had a full-time and he took another job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I know,
That's the rule.
but I mean,
But,
And that's an indication, by the way, that we don't pay a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that has to do with pay.
So,
well, we're not, you know, the town is strapped, you know. We
well, you
make,
say
we're
that,
bringing in
you
enough
say
money,
that, Tim, but
but
We're not
what
strapped.
happens if we,
We're not strapped. We're
No.
meeting our budget, we're not in the red.
yeah, not yet.
town is
We
not
won't
strapped.
be.
No, when are we gonna raise water rates again?
I don't know, that's gonna be the new administration if it needs to be done. It hasn't needed
You
to be
know,
done.
we keep spending, we're gonna have to get the money from somewhere.
Well,
And
what you
we
do
keep
is-
giving
what you
pay
do-
raises, and we keep,
yeah,
you know,
but what you do,
Is
good
there a
question.
deficit at this point?
not at this point.
It's a good question. What do you do when you have to have more money to pay for the water system or the sewer system? You raise rates. That's what you do. The people of the town have to pay for that. That's what happens.
We just borrowed another,
We haven't raised
$500,000,000.
taxes. We haven't raised taxes, which pays for the police department in 3 or 4 years. You know, we haven't added to the levy. Now, the property values go up and we get more money because the property values have risen.
Fromberg looks to me like it's growing, it's expanding,
It is.
it's in a positive move right now.
You know, the grades, the high school enrollment is up and
Yeah.
everything is going good up there and
Yeah.
the town. And some of the new people that I've talked to that moved to town, they appreciate the town. It's a nice, quiet town, and that's what matter of fact, I've had 2 new people that moved into town talk to me just recently and tell me what they were praising our town. So,
I talked to a person recently that just praised the school. They said their kids were so happy at
Yeah.
that school.
I just transferred my granddaughter in there and she is absolutely happy as can be, yes.
Al, yeah.
Think about with Ralph, if you cut the police force, what could happen? I mean, what can happen? What if he's a deterrent to things?
I mean,
Don't want
that's
to
his
fight
biggest
police
influence is a deterrent.
Now,
And
if they know that there's not an officer on duty,
Maybe in a minute,
they
perhaps.
just get away with things. So,
Well, and then I've tried to say that nobody, you know, everybody has room for improvement, all employees have room, always. It's more constructive to make good suggestions about those, I think, than to just try to save money by cutting where it isn't really necessary. If we were like the state and we didn't have the money to pay employees, we would have to be cutting employees. It's been a long road, and Jim knows, he's been here along with me all along. It's been a long road to get this town to where it has the revenue. Joliet just sent out a letter to the President of the United States asking for him to help him with a couple $1 million. I'm not trying to laugh, but I don't think Trump's gonna do that. He's writing a letter to the governor, trying to get the governor to help Joliet. We went through 8 years of getting Fromberg to the point where we can borrow the $1.5 million that we're gonna be borrowing. Without raising rates from now on, I mean, that's something you will have to be done in the future, because it does not get cheaper to live with your infrastructure.
All
your
the
infrastructure
utilities,
is-
Everything's gonna go up. At some
the
point in
gas,
time,
the electric, everybody
at
raises.
some point in time,
because
you
of
will
cost
have
of
to
living.
tell the people of Fromberg, we're gonna need to raise some rates. Tammy iterated that our rates are kind of funky. Actually, what she described is exactly what we do. We charge A flat rate if you're not using it, so much per 1,000 gallons if you do. Exactly what she was saying. We don't have a vacation rate tonight, we don't call it a vacation rate. We call it non-active. If you don't wanna activate, if you wanna deactivate your water and sewer, you still pay a flat fee, not based on your usage, but based on the fee that had to be established to qualify our rates to grow this town. And that's what we're trying to do. And I don't have any problem with people looking at this budget and trying to do things here and there, but I do have a problem with the concept that we're throwing out there that we're strapped, we don't have any money. We've worked, and the employees here have worked hard. We have 9 years with Brenda, 8 years with Ralph, about going on 4 or 5 now with Mike. No, yeah, probably 6.
Going on 6.
That's a pretty good record. It's hard to keep people. We don't always have the same luck and longevity with part-timers, but, I mean, with underlings. Maybe Mike's the problem with keeping people, keeping people hired, you know. But we have a lot of new houses going in. I mean, Fromberg, I think, is in a good spot.
And might I add, you talk about we're strapped, really? How much that grader's worth? How much the sander was that we got for nothing? And all the other equipment that I've bought over the years that we paid pennies on the dollar for, we've always had the money to get it. Dump truck, everything. There's programs out there, and I'm involved in these programs. Your skidder that you got for $800, your $20,000 skidder that you got for $800. We've always had the money. That's one of the things that I kind of laugh at, because the guy that I took over for, his last words to me was, "Good luck getting this town to buy you anything, they're cheap sons of bitches." Point blank, that's what he told me. Come on over to my shop and I'll show you what I purchased through the council.
Well, I did fudge on the $800 windows, I mean.
They didn't change.
Well,
I bet you need a grader, but you know, we had part plywood up on the windows.
Yeah,
I don't
so-
know. But anyway.
But, and that's
It's all about
what I'm saying, is
Yeah.
we have the money, we're not strapped, we have the money. You know, there's equipment that we need to get, that we're still going for, and I'm still looking, trying to find the deals that I found on everything else, like we found on the grader and everything else. The grader cost us basically $3,000, that was to get it shipped here. It's a $140,000 machine. No different than my fire department. I got $480,000 fire truck for $2,700. What it cost me to ship here. There's programs out there. I'm involved in these programs. We're getting the equipment, but it's all
Did you
gracious.
get
But in the same
Ralph a
token,
new car?
on the same token, he's already working on
They're
that. He's
working
working
on
on the same
We're slated to
program.
get one next year, so, from the county.
May I weigh in on this?
Yeah.
The scare tactic.
I think if you wanna just talk dollars, that's one thing. But the 3 towns across the valley here work together. Mike knows both heads of, and as does Ralph. It's an interlocal relationship. They have skills they share. They share work all across. It's not just you
And
working
equipment,
by
they
yourself.
compensate
Hence
where
why
one
Bridger's
doesn't have
pavers sitting in
equipment.
our shop right now.
Yeah, they share equipment also.
It's not just money, and that's what you have a value in your employees, their ability to step up. And I see it because I represent the other 2 towns. It's a coming together, you know. They need
Someone that wasn't there.
that in a working
And
relationship.
it is growing, it's not growing a little bit, it's growing exponentially right now. And the last thing we wanna do is cut services, when
Well-
you've got that kind of influx coming into
I'll
town.
tell you, I've been retired for, 4 years now, but the population in Fromberg has grown since I came here in 2005. When I started as postmaster, the rural route had 70 deliveries out of Fromberg. That's the rural route. When I retired, there was 120 deliveries on that rural route. I was there, 10 years, 12 years? Anyway, so it's growing, and it has grown since I retired. There's been more people moving in. So we do have a growth, you guys. It's coming. Well, it has come.
It is.
Yeah, just take a drive out on Lower River Road anytime, you'll see the
Yeah,
whole community out there. And there's growth in the town too, it's not just out there.
and I'm sure there's more deliveries have been added since I retired 4 years ago.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that, we are in good shape, and I think that the council has worked hard. I think you guys, Tim, you've been going along 4 years with the same basic budget. We don't increase much, we just do a little bit here and there. We try to give a cost of living increase to employees, but we have, and yes, we have complaints on all employees, not very many, and many times from the same people. They don't like some personalities. That's a fact of nature. That's gonna happen no matter who's sitting here and no matter
Not
who's
gonna
sitting
please
there.
all of the people all of the time.
And so anyway, let's get on with talking about this budget then. So if you are dead set on making suggestions and then feel free to make motions on those regards, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. Because I think we can discuss this all night and not really get to the bottom of it, and I'd like to see that we pass a final budget tonight so we can send it to the state and be,
Not
yeah,
in
and be,
Well, I'd make a motion that we cut Ralph's time down to 20 hours a week. And see where that goes.
do we have a second?
I'm gonna abstain.
Hearing no second, the motion fails.
Okay.
Next item.
Well, I make a motion that we don't have pay raises.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to, I guess, pass the budget without any pay increases. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, fine.
Was that an aye? All opposed, nay?
Nay.
We have a tie, and so I get to break the tie, and I will vote nay. So that doesn't mean there's gonna be a specified pay raise unless there's a motion made later to pass a pay raise of a certain amount. And I have let people know ahead, before in the budget workshops and stuff, that I have factored in a 3%, up to a 3%
Yeah,
increase in salaries. So. Okay, next item. Anything else? Being none, is there any motion on the budget presented?
I make a motion that we accept the resolutions 473 on the budget that's been presented to us tonight.
Pay raise?
Oh, yes, with the cost of living payments, yes.
And the particulars percent, 1, 2, or 3, 1.5, 2.5? Up to
2.
3, up to 3.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the budget as presented with including a 2% wage increase for employees. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carried. So I'm gonna read this, I guess I should read this resolution now that we passed the budget.
Yeah.
So, you passed the budget, so.
Yeah.
Resolution 473 is a resolution approving the Town of Fromberg 217-218 budget as attached and labeled as Town of Fromberg Final 2017-2018 Budget. Passed this blank day of October 2017. Said Town of Fromberg has caused its corporate name to be subscribed thereto and its corporate seal fixed by the mayor and clerk this second day of October 2017. So then I would need a motion on the resolution.
Okay, I make a motion on resolution 473.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 473 as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. Thanks, everyone. I know there's been a lot of work on it. I think that going forward, that things can get hashed out. We'll have potential mayors, future mayors sitting here in the council room tonight, so we won't know at the next meeting, we'll know the day after. So I encourage the new leadership all around the council as well to work together and get things accomplished. It doesn't always come out unanimous, that's the way the system works. But the people will be choosing in November. I'm gonna get this copy out of here because it's printed up and I should have mine. Next item on the agenda is old business. Do we have any old business? Should I reference the, yes. As you know, Hope was gonna be leaving us. We did not have, as of yet, any applicants for a town attorney. We still have an ad out there. Hope was gracious enough to say she'd stay on until we find a replacement, for as long as she can. So we appreciate that. And we'll keep the ads out there. I think I have them going until right before the next meeting. We'll talk about it then again and see if we have any applicants. So that's all I have for old business. Anybody else have old business?
I got one thing.
Okay.
Actually, a couple. Backing up to the correspondence.
Okay.
There are considerable amount of letters, not just one misfiled here or one misfiled there. And I would suggest or like to see the correspondence taken better care of and replied to in writing by the city, not a verbal expose at a meeting or a phone call to someone and then trash can in the letter. This stuff should be filed. And the city attorney or the police department or the mayor or the city council or Brenda should reply to these people with their problems, complaints, or otherwise in writing. I can't mandate that, but it's certainly a suggestion. The other one was the old survey, in the town survey. That's bothered me ever since we had the meeting because it went totally sideways into the pothole thing. And Mike Bentley was the only person that answered to that survey. And the mayor didn't answer to his bad marks, Brenda didn't answer to hers, the city council didn't answer to theirs, and Ralph was conspicuously absent. And that whole meeting was pretty much a waste of time, and you threw it back on the people that filled the surveys out. And you already had those and should have responded to us and to those surveys, not throwing it back in our lap to start a whole circus going at the meeting. So you're pretty good at that stuff, I'll give you that.
I think we discussed the surveys. I can remember several questions, and I responded. I'm sorry if I threw it back at the people that sent it, because that's kind of the debate. It goes back and forth like that.
No,
So we all addressed the survey. All of us did. I can remember Shirley's comments on starting it off.
No.
So, you know, we certainly acknowledge the survey. It is in the, it will be in your, we added it, or will add it to your letters, because we considered that correspondence because it was delivered to us,
Yeah.
you know, that meeting.
Where are...
What would you, let me ask you a question. What do you want us to say about it? You want us to say, yeah, you're right, we're all a bunch of, blanking blanks? We know we have complaints. We addressed every single letter of complaints that we've ever had. Sometimes complaints are just, people are just mad at somebody and they just make complaints. Sorry,
Well, sometimes people are doing things wrong they
Yeah.
shouldn't be
Maybe.
doing.
You know, you
and
told me
their
that there-
boss is
you-
not watching them.
You told me that I was hated, and so I can understand that. Don't have any hard feelings towards you, Randy, or
I don't.
anybody else that feels that way.
I
But,
don't recall
you know,
that.
there, yeah, you said it. The point that I've always tried to make is there's some reason why, like the letter from Tammy, and I wish she was here. I don't. There's nothing wrong with her letter she sent, except for the underlying tone of it was that we're trying to do something that is going to cost the town trouble. And an easy letter would be, hey, I think I have knowledge of something that happened to that property. I think the town might want to know. Letters complaining about things. The water, I think I mentioned this last time. I had an irate letter, and you'll get a copy of that and the response to some people who are very upset about their water bill because they don't have a leak. They never had a leak, never will have a leak. Well, they had a leak, and they didn't call me after finding out to apologize. But we do respond. We don't hold it against people who say things that we don't agree with. I will say that during public comment, there has been people who have attempted to retaliate against what people have said, that are saying things that agree with me by not threatening, but by by commenting to somebody's boss. I've never done that. I've never thrown anybody out of a meeting, Randy, in the 14 years I've been here. Never. I let people talk, I let people say, I respond. They don't usually like what I say before I even start. Sorry about that. I disagree with some of the criticisms of the council and the budget and all of that because it isn't true. The survey, I can give you a survey from 1995 that they say the exact same things about a whole different set of people. And I'll do that if you'd like. I'll bring that survey if you'd like.
And where are the surveys at this point?
The advocacy, or not the advocacy, some special committee did the surveys, even though it was the Fromberg Improvement Committee, and they've been backing away from that all along. I can prove that it was the Fromberg Improvement Committee too, but I didn't bother to try that.
No, I just was
I'm
surprised.
just saying, they brought us copies, but I don't think they ever gave us the surveys. Maybe they did. No, they didn't give us the actual surveys, just a synopsis, I guess, or summary of what was said. So we didn't actually see the surveys, the actual comments.
But you guys,
I think those
Or maybe they
surveys were here at the meeting.
yeah, they were
That's the
passed.
reason
Yeah.
I mean, the original surveys.
Yeah,
Yeah, when
And,
I did my survey, I just circled numbers. When you passed all those out in the meeting, there wasn't time to go through that stack of surveys. I was shocked at the comments people had written on them. It never occurred to me to write stuff like that.
Right.
And anyway, I just didn't feel that it
Well,
was
that's-
ever totally addressed.
Right, well, let me just say that your surprise was not my surprise, because I've seen the surveys that were done in, I don't know, 2005 or something. And they're the same kind of rhetoric, and you address them the best you can. Daisy Hoffman, I think is her name, asked me if we were surprised, or if I was surprised about the survey.